tell me your peaks and valleys. I can go first because it leads into what we were about to talk about. I want to talk about peaks and valleys, and I know that we're a couple weeks late, but my peak and valley were the Friends reunion. God, as I say, I'm a writer. Was the Friends reunion?
Okay.
Because it was so amazing and I really enjoyed it. I mean, I would have liked anything, so it really didn't matter.
Yeah.
I would have probably like you, but I'm not going to speak for you. Obviously, I know better. But I will say that it was so well crafted from a producer Bryce standpoint, as well as just like something. It was very nostalgic. It was really nice. The one thing, the reason why it's my valley is because I didn't know what to do with myself after it was over. Like normally, go ahead. You
and I were texting about it because you watched it a day before me, I think.
Yeah.
Because I was saving it for the plane.
Right. And I watched it actually I told you I was such an insane psycho freak that I actually watched it on Thursday at 7 p.m. as if it were like a new episode of Friends coming out on NBC.
Okay, so you watched it about 36 hours before me. And you said, because you texted me and asked if I had watched it yet. And I said, no, I'm saving it for the plane. And you said, oh, it's a really good thing that you're going to be with family. After dramatic. You watched it. It's so dramatic. You're like, because now I just don't know what to do with myself.
I didn't. Because normally in a stressful situation, or not stressful, but in like a situation where I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'll turn on Friends, and I couldn't watch an episode of Friends after watching that. It just like was impossible.
Oh, 100%. I will say, not to skip ahead to mine, but this is also part of my peak. Yeah. I have two peaks, both involve HBO Max. One is the Friends reunion, so I want to get into it.
Yes.
Two is they now have the full Harry Potter series back on there, so.
Oh, superb. I mean, that's where we're gonna find you embedded into the app. Actually,
yes, it's my happy place.
You're gonna like, it's like that show Upload or whatever, where the guy like transmits transmit your brain online. That's what's gonna happen to you. You're just gonna. Like,
my face is just gonna become the HBO Max logo.
Yeah, exactly.
My valley, though, I will say, is that I also finished Ted Lasso.
Oh. That's a good show.
My valley is that I finished it and I have to wait for season 2 now. But can we get into the Friends reunion?
Yes, please.
Is that like what we're talking about next?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will say I watched it on the plane. I agree with you from a non-producer Annie perspective. It was perfect. I actually like laughed out loud on the plane, and I also teared up on the plane multiple times.
Yeah.
Which is a new thing in my life. Like within recent months, I've cried on a lot of planes watching shows, or like I cried during the movie Avatar, flying back.
I remember that.
Flying back from the East Coast. So apparently I have just no shame.
Yeah.
And no
it's also it really is like quite a flex to cry on a plane, like with strangers and a flying bullet in the air, you know.
I'm never gonna see those people again, so bye.
Yeah.
No, but there was a moment when at the end of the reunion, and this is a spoiler, so skip ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
Skip ahead probably the next 5 minutes if you have not watched it yet and want to. But there was a moment when they're all on the couch in Monica's apartment.
I know exactly what you're gonna say.
And Courtney Cox says, I'm realizing now that like this is the last time we'll ever do this because no one's going to ask us to do it again.
Yeah.
And that really got me in my feels.
Me like a waterfall. I was like, what is wrong with me? I'm like, why is it? I mean, it's like, obviously, yes. I mean, you just had to vocalize it. And then well, and I hadn't thought
about that. Like there was always for 17 years, there's been a possibility of a Friends reunion.
Yeah.
And then now that it's here and it's over, it's just kind of like, we're never going to get this again. The other part was when they asked Lisa Kudrow if they would ever do like a Friends movie. And she said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Which I saw coming anyway. And I thought that the writers and creators explanation for why they wouldn't was fantastic.
Yes.
And completely understandable, but I'm with you. How much did you want to kill David Schwimmer when he admitted that he and Jen Aniston had
I did really want to kill him. I want to know, like, I don't know how real that is. Like, it's crazy. I mean, I don't think that I definitely think that they had feelings for each other, because I think that they've always been like linked as dating outside of the show. But it is a little odd that, I mean, it's not impossible, but to me, it just felt like a little odd that this has never come out, that they were never like, they
were never, no, I mean, they were with other people the whole time.
Yeah, that's true.
You're just mad because now that you know that like it could be, or it is like legit, you're mad. I know you are. You're upset inside.
Pissed. I'm actually pretty pissed about it. Like, what? And does she think, is she going to like get together with him now? Like,
obviously not. He seems like such a piece of work.
Yeah.
In real life, when he was talking about how when Sean Penn guest starred during the Halloween episode, and he was like all upset because he thinks that that's like his idol.
Yeah.
And he had one scene with him and he was dressed as like Spudnik.
I was like,
okay. Yeah. I was like, okay, you take yourself way too seriously.
Well, yeah. I mean, and if you look at his sort of trajectory, I mean, he didn't want to do network television as an actor. He wanted to be like in Chicago, the Chicago, oh my God.
Chicago theater.
Yeah, the Chicago theater scene. And it's like, wait, what? I mean, you're not like Glenn Close. I mean,
no.
Just like,
like you played like one of the goofiest characters to ever exist on TV. Like, relax.
I mean, really, it's so true. Like, that's why I love Matt LeBlanc, because he seems like he has such a great personality.
He
like,
is Joey in real life, but with a brain.
Yes.
And I was telling my family about it because I'm a lunatic and I'm the only one that will watch it. Probably.
I'm so glad that you were with family. You were able to speak with someone.
Seriously. But I was like, Matt LeBlanc seems like a genuinely good time. And some of like his little one-liners that he was sliding in, I was cracking up at.
Yes.
Lisa Kudrow, I think I just want to go through like person by person.
Yeah.
Lisa Kudrow looks incredible.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that she's the oldest one on the cast.
By
like 3 or 4 years, I think. Or is it her or is it Courtney Cox?
She and Courtney Cox are pretty close in age, but they're like Lisa Kudrow to, I think, Matthew Perry is like almost 10 years.
It's 6, I think. I looked it up. Okay. Yeah, it's 6 years. But
none of them are the same age. It's like they're all like kind of.
They're all in their 50s. They're from like 51 to 58, I think.
Yeah.
Or 51 to 57. But I just thought she was awesome.
Yeah.
And like that little moment between her and Lady Gaga, I thought was so sweet.
Yeah, that was great.
Jen Aniston is obviously the queen.
Yes.
And that's undeniable.
Right.
Courtney Cox also looks great. I love how they like revealed that she used to write her lines on the table.
Yes.
And like just all that little stuff. And like the information on the casting.
Yes.
How she actually went in initially for Rachel, which I had heard before. But the fact that she was the one that said, like, listen, I'm actually more of a Monica in real life, I thought was amazing.
Well, and that's such a ballsy move, too. I mean, you don't like, she's not someone, I mean, they kind of said she was obviously the most known in the cast, but at the same time, she wasn't some major, actress at the time.
Right.
But it's kind of crazy that she would be like, hey, I mean, nobody, again, I'll get into this. I'm just going off on 17 tangents, but she, it was pretty ballsy of her to be like, no, I actually want to audition for this other part that they had clearly the other actresses that they had in mind were nothing like her.
Right.
So I think also like what the creator said about both Monica and Rachel were interesting because in the wrong hands, both of those characters could be extremely unlikable.
Well, imagining Courtney Cox as Rachel, I already don't like her.
Yeah. No.
And so I think it really was like lightning struck 6 times.
Yes.
With that cast. I saved Matthew Perry for last.
Oh God.
I almost was worried about him.
Yeah.
Watching this. Okay. I have 3 theories.
All right. I like this.
The first, he had like maybe some sort of dental work done, or he has dentures or something that's making it difficult for him to speak normally.
Okay.
My second theory is that he was absolutely shit canned. and like wasted or on something.
You knew about the dental work that came out. Someone.
Oh no, I didn't actually know.
Yeah, somebody actually came out and was like, he just got dental work done, and that's why he was talking like that.
Oh, I did actually. As I was watching, I didn't hear that or read that story anywhere.
That's really observational.
But as I was watching it, I was like, it seems like his teeth are like too big for his mouth or something. Like not looks wise. I thought they looked fine.
I know what you mean.
But the way he was talking, I was like, it wasn't quite slurring.
Right.
But like something wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
And I found him very funny still. Like I think his comedic timing is genius.
So good.
But
the spark has just gone a little bit.
Yeah. And so, which made me think that maybe he was on something or drunk. And then my third, which I really hope this is not it, but it almost seemed like there was maybe something neurological going on.
Well, I mean, he was on a lot of drugs during those years. I mean, that could happen. That could totally happen.
You could tell he wanted to like be there and present and like he really was giving it his all, which I appreciated. So I think that's why part of it just made me kind of sad. Definitely. But when it just is the best. Like I'm gonna watch it again.
I want to watch it. I've been like saving it to watch it again too, which is ridiculous. But I choked up 3 times. One was at the very beginning. I don't know if I texted you. I was like, I'm already choking up when there's not even any new footage yet.
Yeah. Well, it's incredible how well they rebuilt the set.
Yeah, that was really good.
That was crazy. And just watching them all come in, because who walked in first?
Schwimmer.
Yeah, Schwimmer did. And he was just he was very like anticlimactic, I thought.
Yeah.
But like the moment Jen and Courtney walked in, they immediately started to cry, which is what I expected.
Yes.
Honestly, my favorite person on the whole thing was Matt LeBlanc.
Yeah, I want to hang out with him. Like
he would be stole the show. We have to figure out a way to meet him. You have to have connections.
Yeah. I've seen him
we
before.
Seen him on this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. I've seen him at the Chelsea show before. I've seen actually all of them but Schwimmer. I used to see
because he takes himself too seriously and would never do a show like Chelsea. Yeah. God,
or the talk or any show.
Yeah.
Like any of the talk shows I've worked on. But yeah, I used to see Matthew Perry. Matthew Perry used to have his show there. He was on a show called The Odd Couple on CBS, and their production offices were right across, like our office or our stage and their production office faced each other, and he would be outside like smoking cigarettes. And so, but he wasn't like, I mean, he was always like nice. Like he seemed very approachable, which know you'd think that somebody like that maybe necessarily wouldn't be. And I saw Lisa Kudrow in an elevator. I took a picture with her. I'll have to post that on the Instagram.
Well, Lisa Kudrow's dad and brother are like world-renowned neurologists. Yeah.
Yes.
And
she's like super, super smart too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
well, her brother, I've met her brother just through my job.
Yeah.
He's a physician I used to call on, and super nice guy, but beyond brilliant.
Yeah.
Like just so cerebral that
smart.
100%, where I was just kind of like, okay, you and I are like speaking on completely different levels, but super nice guy.
Yes.
So,
and I've seen Jen and Courtney a couple of times too. But I've never seen, and then I saw Matt LeBlanc, but and then the others, it was so good. And like the way that I love like the table read that they did where they were reading that they reread scenes. That was great when they played the lightning round game.
That was funny.
That was really funny. It was just very well crafted. I thought that that's sort of how you do something like that made it. I mean, and a lot of people were asking just because they've, obviously I guess I'm some sort of Friends authority here, but people have been asking me like, is it a new episode? What is this? And so for everyone who hasn't seen it and maybe wants to watch it, I should probably put this at the beginning of this, but it is an unscripted 2-hour special where they go through their interview. They talk about the show. They talk about things that they remember. They play some fun games. There's a few little like fun inserts that they do, but it's not a new episode. It's not, they're not playing their characters with new material. It's nothing like that, but it is, if you are a fan, like I remember the reviews were kind of like, well, this is really for hardcore fans. Like other people aren't. It's like, well, who are they going to make this for? Like, what are they going to make it for? Like fair weather fans? Not to mention
they had, 22 million people tuned in live to the final episode. Like
no, 52.
52?
Yeah, for the series finale.
I mean, if 5% of those people watch, it's worth it to make it for
Well,
them.
and they're banking. Yeah.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say they're banking on the fact that there are more Friends fanatics like the two of us and the millions of people all over the world that love this show that are going to watch this, as opposed to people who are like watching it for the Super Bowl, where you're just like watching it because it's the Super Bowl. It's not like, you know, it doesn't have, you don't have to have your team in the Super Bowl to enjoy it and watch it.
Exactly. Well, and they're also banking on the fanatics watching it more than once.
For sure. Because it's all about clicks.
Yeah. I just remembered the point that really got me.
Oh no.
Where I was just like letting it flow on the plane. Thank God I was sitting next to T and not a stranger.
I remember, I wonder if this is the same one. I won't say it, but what was it yours?
They were showing clips and reflecting back on filming the last episode.
Yes.
And they went to the uncut footage because obviously, again, spoiler, the very last episode ends with Rachel walking into Ross's apartment and saying, I got off the plane.
Yes.
And they go to the uncut footage of it and they're hugging and you hear the director yell cut, and then David Schwimmer and Jenny Aniston just hug tighter.
Yes.
Bryce, waterworks. I could not contain myself. I was like, oh my God. Like, cause just to think like that's 10 years of their lives. They've become they're all best friends. They're never going to do this again. And then when they walked into that hallway and the rest of the cast is all back there and everybody's crying and they're hugging.
Oh, that was,
I was just like, oh my gosh. And then the fact that they immediately broke down the set.
Yeah, that's insane.
Like
that was crazy.
But it was the Ross and Rachel post-cut hug.
That was really good. And when they were when they were in the hallway, that was so. Yeah, there was just a lot. There's so much. I mean, we could just go on.
Yeah,
and on.
I mean, we're already on like 20 minutes of this.
Seriously, I mean, it's so crazy. Like, and what's also another point, and I'll shade this down, but the other point that I thought, two things. One, when the people were saying how the show saved their lives, that's what also got me. Because I was like, that is so true. Everybody watches Friends because it's so easy to watch. You put it on. Yeah. It's going to make you laugh. It's going to make you feel better about yourself. Like, they really were people's friends.
Yeah.
I mean, they were certainly mine.
Totally. Well, and the thing is, too, I think that is unique to realize, like, that show could never be made today.
No.
And there are even times when I'm watching the episode where I'm like, oh, God, like, that would not be kosher on TV right now.
Dad, I mean...
Just to start.
Just to scratch the surface.
I mean, well, and just like the lack of diversity, things like that. Yeah. So like there are things in there where it's like now 25 years later, however long since it first aired, where you are kind of like, okay, but that doesn't take away from the impact that it had like culturally.
Right.
And so we'll put a bow on this. And I just think I'm very grateful they did it the way that they did. Yeah. I loved how much of the behind the scenes footage they had. I thought that was awesome.
I know. And how they had it. It was unearthed. The last thing I'll say is just that it's so funny how nobody could ever have dreamed how big this show was going to be.
Ever.
Like never. Like they did the whole fountain thing. Everyone's like, oh, that was so methodical. And they made, it was like, it was perfect for the thing. They had no idea. They didn't care about any of that. The fact that they
filmed 3 episodes before they even knew if they could sign Jen Aniston.
Yeah.
Like they took such a risk. I was talking to my parents about this because I remember them watching it. And my dad, they didn't end up finishing all 10 seasons. They're going to go back and watch it. Yeah. After I just could not stop talking about the reunion. And my dad said he does remember watching the pilot and saying to my mom, this is going to be huge.
Wow.
Yeah. So Papa Will should maybe be in Hollywood.
To Papa Will. Like,
I know. He does know everything.